I am sitting alone in my empty house, staring at the divorce papers I just signed. 5 years of marriage. 5 years I thought meant something reduced to a stack of legal documents. Just yesterday, my wife Amanda told me she was leaving me for her ex-boyfriend Brad, demanding I sell our home so she could start her new life with him. The words still echo in my mind. But when I opened my email this morning, 19 messages flooded my inbox, all begging for my help, as everything they planned came crashing down. Before I tell you how everything fell apart and came back together, let me ask you something. Where are you watching this from? Drop your location in the comments below. And if you have ever felt betrayed by someone you trusted completely, hit that like button and subscribe, because this story is about to show you what happens when lies catch up with the people who told them. Now let me take you back to where it all began. Amanda and I met 5 years ago at a summer barbecue thrown by mutual friends in Denver, Colorado. She worked in marketing for a small firm downtown, and I was an accountant at a mid-sized company. We hit it off immediately. She had this infectious laugh and a way of making even mundane conversations feel special. 6 months later, we were engaged. A year after that, we were married in a simple ceremony, surrounded by family and friends. We bought our first house together 2 years into our marriage. It was a modest 2-story place in the suburbs. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. We had a 30-year mortgage, and I was proud every time I made a payment. It felt like building something real, something permanent. Our life together was simple but good. We cooked dinner together on weekends, watched movies every Friday night, and walked our dog Bailey around the neighborhood each evening after work. I remember the little things that made me love her. The way Amanda laughed when she flipped pancakes on Sunday mornings, always getting the first one slightly burned. How she would hug me from behind while I washed dishes, resting her chin on my shoulder. The notes she left in my lunch bag telling me to have a good day. I felt safe with her. I believed she was the person I would grow old with, the person who would be there through everything life threw at us. But 6 months ago in April, things started to change. At first, the shifts were so small I barely noticed them. Amanda began working late more frequently. She explained it was a big project with a new client, and I had no reason to doubt her. I trusted her completely. Some nights I even cooked dinner and brought it to her office so she would not have to eat takeout. She always smiled and thanked me, but looking back, the smile never quite reached her eyes. By the second week of her late nights, I noticed she started leaving her phone face down whenever she was home. Before that, she would toss it on the counter carelessly, sometimes even asking me to check her messages if she was cooking or in the shower. Now she kept it close, always within arm's reach. When I asked about it casually, she said her company had implemented new security protocols and everyone had to be more careful with their devices. That same month, Amanda changed her phone password. She told me it was required by her workplace for data protection. I felt a small twinge of discomfort, but I pushed it away. I did not want to be that husband, the one who did not trust his wife. So I said nothing and tried to ignore the growing unease in my stomach. In May, the distance between us became more obvious. One evening, I heard Amanda laughing softly in the other room while texting someone. It was the kind of laugh I used to hear when we first started dating, light and genuinely happy. When I walked in and asked what was so funny, she quickly locked her screen and said a coworker had sent her a silly meme. I smiled and nodded, but something felt off. The joy on her face vanished the moment she saw me. By June, Amanda started declining our usual weekend date nights. Every Saturday for years, we would try a new restaurant or catch a movie, just the two of us. It was our tradition, something I looked forward to all week. But suddenly she was too tired, too stressed, needed time alone to recharge. I tried to be understanding. I cooked her favorite meals, hoping to cheer her up. She ate quickly and went upstairs without much conversation. A few nights that month, she even slept on the couch, claiming she had a terrible headache and did not want to disturb my sleep. I offered to get her medicine to sit with her, but she waved me off. I lay awake in our bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering what I was doing wrong. Then I found the credit card statement. It was sitting on the kitchen counter one morning, and I glanced at it while making coffee. There was a charge from an upscale Italian restaurant across town, a place I had never been to. The date was from 2 weeks prior. When Amanda came downstairs, I asked her about it casually, thinking maybe it was a work dinner I had forgotten, she mentioned. She barely looked up from her phone and said it was a company event, a celebration for closing a deal. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But later that day, I checked the company calendar Amanda sometimes shared with me on our shared tablet. There was no event listed for that date, no mention of any celebration. I felt sick to my stomach. For the first time in our marriage, I was actively questioning whether my wife was lying to me. That night, I tried to talk to her. I waited until after dinner, until Bailey was walked, and the dishes were done. I sat her down on the couch and gently said we needed to discuss things that I felt like we were drifting apart. Amanda's face hardened immediately. She accused me of not trusting her, of being controlling, of making her feel suffocated. I was stunned. I apologized, said I was just worried about us, that I loved her, and wanted to fix whatever was wrong. She softened slightly, said she was just stressed with work, and promised things would get better soon. I hugged her, and she let me, but her body felt stiff and distant. That night I blamed myself for being paranoid, but the feeling of dread never left. July arrived, and the unease I felt had grown into full-blown anxiety. I did not want to be the kind of person who spied on their spouse, but I could not shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I started noticing more details. Amanda would shower as soon as she got home from work, even on days she claimed to have been in the office all day. She bought new clothes nicer than what she usually wore, and styled her hair differently. One morning, Amanda forgot her laptop at home. She had rushed out the door for an early meeting, and I saw it sitting on the dining room table. I did not open it. I respected her privacy, even then. But as I walked past, a notification popped up on the lock screen. It was an email preview. The sender's name was Brad Thompson. The preview read, "Cannot wait to see you tonight, beautiful." My heart dropped into my stomach. I felt like I might throw up. My hands shook as I picked up my phone and texted Amanda, trying to keep my message calm. "Who is Brad Thompson?" I asked. She did not respond for over 2 hours. When she finally replied, the message was curt. "A client. Do not make this difficult for me at work, Joe." I spent the rest of that day barely functioning. I sat at my desk staring blankly at spreadsheets, unable to focus. That evening, Amanda came home later than usual. When she walked past me, I smelled a cologne I did not recognize clinging to her blouse. I said nothing. I pretended to be asleep when she came to bed, but I lay awake for hours, my mind racing. The following week, I got a call from Mark, one of my closest coworkers and a good friend. His voice was hesitant, uncomfortable. He said he had seen something and was not sure whether to tell me, but he felt I deserved to know. My stomach twisted. Mark told me he had seen Amanda at a coffee shop downtown that afternoon. She was with a man. They were sitting close together, much closer than any professional meeting would warrant. The man was holding her hand across the table. Mark had taken a photo. He sent it to me. I stared at my phone screen, and it felt like someone had punched me in the chest. The man was tall, had brown hair, and wore an expensive-looking suit. Amanda was smiling at him, a radiant, genuine smile. I had not seen directed at me in months, maybe longer. I thanked Mark and hung up. I sat in my car in the office parking lot for 30 minutes trying to process what I was seeing. That night I planned to confront Amanda. I rehearsed what I would say, how I would ask for the truth. But when she got home, she told me she had to go on a 3-day business trip to Atlanta, starting the next morning. My gut told me it was a lie, but I let her go. I needed time to think, to figure out what to do next. While Amanda was supposedly in Atlanta, I did something I never thought I would do. I hired a cheap online private investigator service, one that specialized in tracking suspicious behavior. It felt dirty and invasive, but I had to know the truth. 3 days later, I received a report. Amanda had never gone to Atlanta. She had stayed in Denver the entire time. The investigator had tracked her checking into the Hilton downtown with Brad Thompson. There were photos of them entering and leaving the hotel together, holding hands, laughing. I sat alone in our house, staring at those photos, and I cried for the first time in years. Everything I thought I knew about my life, my marriage, my future, was crumbling. I felt hollow, but I also felt a strange sense of clarity. I knew what I had to do. I would wait for Amanda to come home and confront her with the truth. The day before Amanda returned from her fake trip, I got a phone call from her older sister, Stephanie. I had always gotten along fine with Stephanie, though we were never particularly close. Her tone on the phone was cold, almost hostile. She told me I needed to do the right thing. Confused, I asked her what she meant. She said, "Let Amanda be free. She deserves to be happy, and you are not making her happy." I was stunned. "Are you saying you know Amanda is having an affair?" I asked. Stephanie laughed. A cruel, mocking sound. An affair. She is finding her way back to her true love. Brad is the man Amanda should have married in the first place. You were just a placeholder, Joe. The words cut deeper than I expected. I realized then that Amanda's entire family knew what was happening and had chosen to support her betrayal. I hung up without saying anything else. I felt utterly alone. That evening, Amanda came home. I was sitting in the living room waiting. On the coffee table in front of me, I had laid out everything. The photos from the investigator, the hotel receipt, the email preview I had screenshotted. When Amanda opened the front door and saw me sitting there, her face went pale. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then her expression shifted. Instead of guilt or shame, I saw anger. "You had me followed," she said, her voice sharp. I stayed calm. "How long have you and Brad been seeing each other?" She did not answer directly. She looked away, crossing her arms. I did not want it to happen like this. "Do you still love me?" I asked. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, she shook her head. "I do not think I ever really loved you, Joe." It felt like a knife twisting in my chest. She continued, her voice cold. "Brad was my boyfriend in college. We broke up because our families pressured us, but we ran into each other a few months ago and everything came back. He is the one, Joe. Not you." "So what were these 5 years?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "A mistake," she said flatly. "I am sorry, but I want a divorce." I nodded slowly, trying to absorb the reality of what was happening. I asked her what she wanted to do, how she wanted to handle things. Amanda's answer shocked me even more. "I am moving in with Brad," she said. "You need to sell this house." I stared at her. "Sell the house? I have been paying the mortgage. Most of the payments have come from my salary, but my name is on the deed too," she said. "I need my half of the money. Brad and I are planning to buy a penthouse together." I could not believe what I was hearing. "You cheated on me, and now you want to take my money." Her face twisted with anger. "Do not act like you are some victim here, Joe. You are the reason I was never happy. You are boring. You have no ambition. You have been doing the same mediocre accounting job for years. I deserve more than this. I deserve more than you." She stepped closer, her voice rising. "Brad is a director at his company. Do you understand that? You are just going to be a small-time accountant for the rest of your life. You are a pathetic failure, Joe. Brad is the love of my life. You were just something I settled for." Before I could respond, she grabbed the framed wedding photos off the wall. One by one, she tore them apart, ripping through our smiling faces and threw the pieces at me. I stood there not moving, as bits of torn photographs fluttered to the floor. Then Amanda pulled out her phone and called Stephanie, putting it on speaker right in front of me. I told him, Amanda said when Stephanie answered. Stephanie's laughter came through the phone, loud and cruel. Finally, "Joe, listen to me. Amanda is too good for you. Our whole family has known that from the start. You are not good enough for her. Brad is wealthy, successful, handsome, and you are just an ordinary man with nothing special to offer. Sign the papers and let her go. She has already wasted 5 years on you." Amanda ended the call and pulled a thick stack of papers from her bag. It was a divorce agreement, already prepared by a lawyer. I flipped through it. She was demanding half the value of the house, even though I had paid almost all of it. I looked at her, this woman I had thought I would spend my life with, and I saw a complete stranger. I picked up a pen. Amanda smiled, thinking she had won. Without a word, I signed my name on every line that required it. Amanda snatched the papers from my hands as soon as I finished. "I will have my things out by the end of the week," she said. She grabbed her purse and walked toward the door. Before leaving, she turned back with a smirk. "Oh, and Brad is waiting for me in his car outside. I do not need you to drive me anywhere ever again." The door slammed shut. I sat alone in the silence of our house, feeling like everything I had built had just been demolished. 3 days passed. I moved through them like a ghost, packing up pieces of my life, preparing to sell the house as Amanda demanded. I contacted a real estate agent and started sorting through which furniture to keep and which to donate. It felt surreal, dismantling a life I thought was permanent. On the 3rd day, I opened my email to send some documents to the agent. That is when I saw them. 19 unread emails, all received within the last 24 hours. My cursor hovered over the inbox. The first email was from Amanda. The subject line read, "We need to talk. Please." I opened it. "Joe, I know I do not deserve to speak to you, but I need your help. Everything has fallen apart. Please call me back." I stared at the screen, confused. I scrolled down. The second email was from Stephanie. "Joe, I know I said terrible things, but Amanda needs you right now. Please just listen to what she has to say." The next 8 emails were from Amanda's mother, her father, her aunts, uncles, cousins. Every single one of them was begging me to help Amanda. The messages grew increasingly desperate. Emails 11 through 19 were all from Amanda, each one more frantic than the last. "Joe, please. I am so sorry. I was wrong about everything. You are the only person who can help me now." I sat back in my chair, completely baffled. What could have possibly happened in 3 days to cause this flood of desperation? I clicked on the final email. Amanda had sent the longest one, written at 3 in the morning. In it, Amanda explained everything. After she moved in with Brad, she discovered the truth. Brad was not a director. He had been fired from his job 2 months earlier for embezzling company funds. The penthouse he had shown her. It was a short-term rental he had booked through Airbnb just to impress her. The luxury car leased month to month, and he was behind on payments. Brad owed the bank over $150,000. He had been lying to Amanda the entire time, spinning a story of success to lure her away from me. His plan was simple and cruel. He would get Amanda to divorce me, take her half of the house sale, which was worth about $125,000, use it to pay off his debts, and then leave her. Amanda found out by accident. She saw an email from the bank on Brad's laptop, threatening legal action for unpaid loans. When she confronted him, he did not even bother lying anymore. According to her email, he had laughed and said, "I just needed the money. You actually thought I loved you." Brad kicked her out of the rented penthouse that same night. Amanda had nowhere to go. She had burned her bridge with me, destroyed our marriage for a man who had used her. Now her family, the same people who had mocked me and told her she deserved better, were blaming her for ruining a good marriage. She was alone, broke, and desperate. The email ended with Amanda begging me to stop the divorce, to give her a second chance to help her fix the disaster she had created. I closed my laptop. I did not reply to a single email. I sat in the quiet of my nearly empty house and felt something I did not expect. Not satisfaction, not vindication, but a strange, deep sense of peace. This was not about revenge. This was about self-respect. Amanda had made her choices. Brad had made his. And now they were both facing the consequences of their lies. I continued with my plan to sell the house. A month later, it sold for $250,000. After paying off the remaining mortgage and splitting the rest as the divorce required, I walked away with my portion. It was not as much as I had hoped, but it was enough. I moved into a smaller apartment across town, a 1-bedroom place with big windows and room for Bailey. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I ran into Mark at a coffee shop. We sat down to catch up, and inevitably he asked if I had heard anything about Amanda. I had not. Mark hesitated, then told me what he had heard through mutual acquaintances. Amanda was living with her mother, working part-time at a retail store. Brad had disappeared entirely. No one knew where he had gone, but there were rumors he had skipped town to avoid his creditors. Stephanie, who had called me so many cruel names, had tried reaching out to me several times in the months after everything fell apart. I never answered. Eventually, she stopped trying. I wish I could say I felt a sense of triumph hearing all this, but I did not. I felt sad for the waste of it all. Sad for the years lost. The trust broken, the life we could have had if Amanda had just been honest. But I also felt grateful. Grateful that I had been set free from a relationship built on lies. I learned something important through all of this. Sometimes people betray you not because you are lacking, but because they do not know how to value what they have. They chase illusions of something better and lose what was real in the process. I did not need to take revenge on Amanda or Brad. Life had a way of teaching its own lessons. I do not regret signing those divorce papers. It was the hardest thing I ever did, but it was also the most important act of self-respect I had ever shown myself. I chose to walk away from someone who did not value me, and in doing so I gave myself the chance to build a better life. These days I am doing well. I met someone new a few months ago, a woman named Clara who works as a teacher. She is kind, honest, and makes me laugh. We take things slow, but there is something real between us, something I can feel in my bones. I wake up in the morning and feel hopeful again. Bailey loves her, which I take as a good sign. Sometimes the best revenge is not revenge at all. It is building a life so good you forget why you wanted it in the first place. I am not angry anymore. I am not bitter. I am just a man who learned that I deserve to be with someone who sees my worth, and I will never settle for less than that again. The betrayal hurt, but it also freed me. And for that, in a strange way, I am thankful. So let me ask you, have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved because they did not value you? Have you ever chosen self-respect over comfort? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear your story. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes we all need a reminder that we are worth more than how others treat us. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it gives you the strength to choose yourself, no matter how hard it gets. Take care of yourselves out there. And remember, better days are always ahead if you are brave enough to walk toward them.